Georgia could hold the key to a non-Power 5 school getting into the playoffs for the first time this year. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. And if you haven't already, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, especially if you're a college football fan. I promise you'll like this channel, whether you agree with me or you want to trash talk me. Either way, you'll love it. So, this year I think is the best chance for a non-Power 5 team to get to the playoffs. Now, it would still take some things happening, but I came up with some things that would create a path for a non-Power 5 team. So the team that I choose is Cincinnati, since they're ranked the highest and they are clearly the best non-Power 5 team out there. So first things first, Cincinnati has to go undefeated. They would be 11-0, including the championship game. They would have wins over Army, Tulsa, SMU, Memphis, UCF, and Temple. And one of those teams they would have a win over twice. And right now, they are in the top 10. So, you know, a lot of the work has already been done. But there's still some other things that would have to happen. So, the three teams in the Power 5s that would still make it would be Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia. So, it's that fourth spot that Cincinnati would be fighting for. And here's what would need to happen. First of all, we'll look at the Big Ten. Ohio State, of course, they're in. So the next team would be Penn State. So Penn State loses to Ohio State, of course, and Michigan, or just Ohio State twice. Michigan, we got to get them out of the way. They lose to Minnesota and Ohio State, or Ohio State twice, whichever one happens. Wisconsin, we got to get them out of the way. They lose to Michigan and Iowa, or Michigan and Ohio State in the championship game, or Iowa and Ohio State in the championship game. And then Oregon for the Pac-12, they just need to get beat once and we're good. Moving on from there, the SEC, they're the biggest problem as far as standing in the way of Cincinnati. So, for another SEC team to be knocked out, first of all, Alabama would have to get whooped by Georgia twice. Or they lose to a close game to Georgia once and they get upset by either Tennessee or Auburn. And just to cover all my bases, Georgia also needs to beat Florida to get Florida off the board. Let's move over to the ACC, because the ACC could still stand in the way of Cincinnati. Alright, so the first team, well, Clemson is in. So no scenario do I have Clemson missing. I mean, it would take an epic upset. Well, probably two. So I'm keeping Clemson in. So the other teams, North Carolina. I think North Carolina, if they beat Notre Dame, but lose to Miami, so that gives them their first loss, and then loses to Clemson in the title game. That's their second loss. North Carolina off the board. Let's move to Notre Dame. They lose to Clemson, lose to North Carolina. They're off the board. And then, of course, Miami. I would have them beat North Carolina, but then they would get upset by NC State or Virginia Tech, or just lose to Clemson by a big margin again. And then the last team that would stand in the way of Cincinnati would be Oklahoma State. I think, personally, Oklahoma State would only have to lose once, but just to make sure, Oklahoma State loses once and gets beat in the Big 12 title game, which isn't that far of a stretch. So, the path may seem complicated, but it's definitely doable. I think the biggest conference that would get in the way of Cincinnati would be the SEC. But if Georgia were to do their part, they could definitely pave their way, as far as Cincinnati, to the playoffs. So really, the biggest piece is in the hands of Georgia. Georgia could pave the way for Cincinnati to get into the playoffs. That's all I got for you for this video. like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next video.